The sights and sounds of spring have sprung. The Tampa Bay Rays begin the new decade fueled with excitement and confidence heading into the 2020 season, and it all begins once again during spring training right here in Port Charlotte.
I think our goal is to go further. I know our goal is that. We had such a fun, special year, and then when the season ended, we were proud of what was accomplished, but at the same time, we were disappointed.
The Rays' DNA continues to focus on the quality and depth of the organization's pitching. Injuries in 2019 to starters Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow tested the staff, and both arrived early to Florida, working out to ready themselves for the upcoming season.
It's more so of like a mental thing too, just having people here and trainers and coaches, you kind of can get into that game mode quicker.
It's been a combination of things through the off season, what I'm eating, going to sleep earlier. Came in early to make sure my arm was good from the surgery, and it's been feeling great.
Neil Solondz takes a look at a number of Tampa Bay's top prospects and what to watch for during spring, while Orestes Destrada and Doug Wechter analyze the club and the new additions that will be on the opening day roster. The boys are back in town and Grapefruit League action is underway. This is the Tampa Bay Rays Spring Training Preview. Last year at this time, the Rays entered spring training looking to build upon the 90-win campaign of 2018. We'll consider the 2019 season a success as the organization earned its first playoff berth in 6 years and gave notice that the team won't be slowing down in 2020. Hello everyone, I'm Trisha Whitaker. It's that time of year where hope truly does spring eternal for all 30 major league clubs. Here at spring training in Port Charlotte, the Rays are coming off a 96-win season, the second most in the franchise's history, only surpassed by the 97-win 2008 World Series team. Heading into 2020, manager Kevin Cash sets his sights on narrowing the gap with the Yankees, eyeing a run at the AL East title with a young, talented core combined with a pitching staff that led all of the major leagues with the lowest ERA in 2019.
Looking forward to getting out there, getting a taste last year of the playoffs. Just excited to get going. We know we can compete with the best out there. I think we proved that last year. So we're going to build off of last year and keep it going.
Get better than last year. Obviously, we made the postseason last year and took it all way to Game 5 in the DS. So obviously, we're wanting to get back to the playoffs and go even farther and see what happens. And I think we've constructed a team to do that.
We got a couple of new pieces. I think they're going to help us a lot. And, everybody's excited, everybody's hungry. We got a little taste of the playoffs last year. And, I'm just happy that everybody came to spring training healthy, in a good shape. Excited for this upcoming season.
I think our goal is to go further. I know our goal is that. We had such a fun, special year, and then when the season ended, we were proud of what was accomplished, but at the same time, we were disappointed that it ended that soon because we had so much fun being around each other, winning games, and the support that we got from our fans was just awesome for games 3 and 4.
I look around at our staff and I know what they can do. I think it's all just piecing it together and doing what we did last year. I would like to see us win the division. I would like to see that because I think if we can win the division, that'll give us some momentum going into the playoffs.
These guys all have their own expectations of themselves, and I think as a staff it's not our job to manage those. And I think the biggest key is just building off of what they've taken away from last season, and now it's a matter of figuring out what it's going to take to maybe win the division. Get to the championship series and ultimately the World Series and hoist the trophy.
The huge focus for this year is be healthy. Unfortunate injuries, but that's something that you got to move past and work through. And I think I've done a really good job with that this offseason and coming in healthy for spring training.
There's a certain amount of confidence level coming off of 2 90-plus win seasons, but at the same time, it's very early in the year, and we know we have a lot of work to do. That's how we were able to be successful the last 2 years. We kind of took things day by day, and at the end of the season, we had positive results both times. So I think that we're confident, but also understand that we need to work hard, and it's definitely a long season ahead of us.
certainly you'd like to think with another year of maturity, another year of development, that those opportunities are going to present themselves. But we got to stay healthy, and we've got to take care of business on the field.
Coming up, Orestes Estrada and Doug Wechter break down the pitching staff and the expectations during spring training and the regular season. One of many signs that the arrival of spring training has come is the equipment loadout inside Tropicana Field. Everything that's needed for a smooth transition down to Port Charlotte during the months of February and March is boxed up, taped up, and picked up by the Rays clubhouse and equipment staff.
It's not just the clubhouse. There's athletic training, there's the kitchen department, nutrition, and then a lot of our equipment that's going down there. It takes a couple weeks just of planning and then just a couple days maybe just to get everything organized and staged. It gets earlier and earlier every year, but you know, we're excited to get down there with all this stuff. As you see getting on there, we have a couple trucks going today. We do get excited for the start of the new year, and you know, looking forward to build on what we did last year.
Starting with the 2008 season until now, there have only been 2 seasons where the Rays have failed to win 80 or more games. They've won 90 or more games during those seasons 7 times. Quite the accomplishment, given the always competitive AL East. Heading into this season, the Rays bring back a pitching staff that is largely unchanged from the end of 2019. A staff that, when healthy, has one of the best starting rotations in the game, along with a bullpen that could be even better in 2020. And who better to break it down than 2 former Major League players, our very own Fox Sports Sun Rays analysts, Orestes Estrada and Doug Wechter.
Back here in Port Charlotte, and it's camp time, Dougie. So good to be back over here. So great to see the boys of summer, and also great to see the pitchers of summer. This is a fantastic staff that had a great year last year. Talk to me about this starting rotation.
Well, it's not just the pitchers of summer. It's the pitchers all year, It's the pitchers of 2020. Look, this staff is going into 2020 as one of the tops in the game. You can start with Charlie Morton, the ace. I mean, this guy goes out there. He took over 2019, 33 starts, 240 strikeouts. Look for him to go back in 2020 and do similar numbers. I mean, he's got the stuff and he's got the drive to do it. Behind him, you got a guy in Blake Snell. Blake Snell had a little bit of a bump in the road 2019, but if you go back to the 2018 season, he's a Cy Young Award winner. I expect him to bounce back and have that type of year in 2020. Left-hander, 4-pitch pitcher who can dominate a game just about any time. And you talk about domination, you got to talk about Glasnow. This guy, Tyler Glasnow. First 12 starts of the year last year, 6-1 record, a sub-2 ERA, virtually unhittable. He got sidetracked with some injuries. If he stays healthy, look for this dude to explode in 2020. Could have the best year out of any Rays pitcher in a long time. Behind him, Yarborough, Chirinos, these guys go in there, can suck up a lot of innings, strike throwers. They are great to have, that 4 or 5 spot in the rotation if they need them. They can also go in and be part of an opener. So a lot of good things coming in that rotation.
And then, listen, you got the rotation, but you always need the bullpen. Talk to me. Last year was a very diverse bullpen. The 1-2 punch lefty-righty. What do they got coming at you?
Well, look, this is a bullpen that's heavily used. You know, most innings in Major League Baseball last year, and look for them to do a lot of that again this year. First guy I think of, Nick Anderson. Nick Anderson came on the scene last year, first 7 innings, punched out 17 people. It took me a month to get to those numbers. Insane. So look for him to go in the back end of that bullpen. 2 guys I really want to watch closely this year in spring training and the beginning of the season, Diego Castillo, Jose Alvarado. Diego Castillo and Alvarado, these guys have probably the best 1-2 combination of stuff in the game in a bullpen. If they are throwing strikes, they are virtually unhittable, and they can definitely shorten the game for Kevin Cash.
And you got guys like Chaz Rowe, obviously, in the mix, too. But there is going to be a new kind of nuance to this whole situation as far as a new rule per the bullpen.
Right, so there's a new rule set up to where a pitcher has to face a minimum of 3 batters when he goes in, or he has to finish an inning. Some people think that might be a little hard for some managers to deal with the way Kevin Cash and Kyle Snyder handle the staff, handle the bullpen, and the way they utilize them in these games. I don't think they're going to have a problem with it. I think they'll be able to work around that rule and still have one of the best bullpens in the game.
So there you have it, straight from Dougie Wechter. The Rays look fantastic with staff and with the bullpen ready to go in 2020.
Up next, Blake Snell and Tyler Glasnow are looking forward to a hopefully healthy an even more successful 2020 season.
Came in early to make sure my arm was good from the surgery, and it's been feeling great.
I'm definitely ready. The offseason I'm over it now. I'm feeling really good, arm's feeling great.
And Neil Solondz at the Rays Radio Network joins me to spotlight some of Tampa Bay's top prospects as the Rays spring training preview continues. The 2020 Tampa Bay Rays Fan Fest held at Tropicana Field is another sign that baseball is back in the Bay Area, featuring a number of interactive activities. Kids were treated to a youth baseball and softball clinic with Brandon Lau and his wife Madison, as well as reading with the Rays with Charlie Morton. Fans also had a chance to spend some time with Rays players and coaches, and all proceeds from autograph pass sales benefited the Rays Baseball Foundation. A visit to the lounge area brought a selection of video games as well as a photo opportunity with a larger-than-life Blake Snell bobblehead. Also, more than 30 Major League alumni were present to sign autographs for free. After such an exciting 2019, the anticipation surrounding the Rays heading into the 2020 season can't be overstated, and any success the club looks to achieve begins with its pitching. Last season, the Rays overcame injuries on the mound of two key starters, Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell. Their return in September and in the playoffs bolstered the entire team. And heading into this season, both Tyler and Blake came back to the area and worked out earlier than usual, preparing for spring training and hopefully a healthy year ahead.
2-2, and he got it. He struck him out.
It's been a combination of things through the off season. It's been what I'm eating, going to sleep earlier. Came in early to make sure my arm was good from the surgery, and it's been feeling great. So for me, I'm just focused on really just the things that I've been focused on all off season.
Well, I think it signifies turning the page on 2019 for his just individual season. But a lot of what we saw at the end of the year was extremely encouraging. But for him to come here, he's as driven as I've seen him. You know, I've obviously been around Blake for about 8 years, you know, but just to focus on just coming into 2020 and not just setting the tone for himself, but for the staff itself as well.
This year, the mentality for me has been a little slow, like obviously still doing like weight room and cardio and like more physical stuff, but like holding back a little bit with the throwing. And then just being built up the same way I usually have. But I'm feeling really good, and arm's feeling great. So yeah, it's just a little different.
You want that. You want them to get around our people, our medical staff, our training staff. Kyle was there, our pitching coach was there, you know, every day, and their bullpens Monday, Friday that they threw leading up to spring training. You'd rather see them than not see them, so I think it is a good thing, and certainly those guys do set a tone for us.
I just felt like it was something that I needed to do to make sure I did everything I could to be as ready as I could be for this season. But it was definitely cool to see guys were here early and were just as ready as I was for the season.
More so of like a mental thing too, just having people here and trainers and coaches, you kind of can get into that game mode quicker. I'm definitely ready. The off season is I'm over it now.
All right, it is time for us to welcome in Neil Solondz to the show of the Rays Radio Network. Neil, we are in Port Charlotte. It is a beautiful day, and it's time for some baseball.
It is, and it's an exciting season ahead.
It is such an exciting season ahead. We've got Neil here to discuss some prospects with us because last year, Neil, the farm system for the Rays was such a crucial part to their success and their playoff run.
It was, and it should be this year. I mean, it's a top 3 farm system, there's no question, and Randy Arozarena is a guy who I think could have an impact at some point this year. Certainly the trade involving Manny Margot has an impact on him potentially making the opening day roster, but the Rays really believe he can be an everyday outfielder eventually for them.
And they've added a lot of talent to that 40-man roster, Neil. Player position-wise, what should we expect?
There's 3 guys I think to watch for. Probably the most exciting and explosive athletically is Vidal Brujan. He's a switch hitter, plays a number of positions, second base is his best, but I think that's probably where he eventually settles in. And then you've got a similar guy in Lucius Fox who also runs extremely well, who was brought up more as a shortstop, will play other spots too. And then in terms of power, Kevin Padlo's a guy to watch out for. He had more than 20 homers, got to AAA. Of the 3, he's probably the closest to being big league ready.
And Neil, we know that shuttle between Durham and St. Pete was incredibly active last year, especially with pitchers on it. What can we expect from the pitchers in the farm system to help the Rays this year? Hopefully get back to where they were last year. They were such a huge and critical part of the Rays plan.
No question. And Brendan McKay was a guy who helped the Rays a lot last year, and the Rays probably will have a couple lefties who have an impact this year. Josh Fleming is the guy who's closest to the big leagues right now. I think what's exciting about Josh is that he's very similar to Ryan Yarbrough, has great command, maybe a little bit more velocity, and then they've got another guy who's Shane McClanahan, a left-hander who has the ability to get you with power stuff. He's a USF guy. He got all the way to AA last year, and he's got a chance to get to the big leagues this year, whether he helps him as a starter out of the pen. And then the third guy to watch for was the pitcher of the year in the organization last year. That is Joe Ryan, averaged nearly 13 strikeouts per 9 innings.
What'd you call it, invisible?
He is an invisible, a fastball that doesn't have tremendous velocity, but has great spin rate, and like Colin Poche, gets a lot of awkward swings.
And a guy we cannot ignore and we cannot miss is Wander Franco. So much excitement surrounding him last year. What can we expect this year? Is there a chance we could see him up here?
I think there's certainly a chance. Really, it depends on Wander. Wander's a guy who will likely begin the year in AA. He's the most dynamic player, not only in terms of their minor league system, but maybe in their organization in terms of overall talent. You forget he's a teenager. It really depends how he develops in terms of his defense, his base running, and more so also developing as a teammate and learning the game at the big league level and getting to that, full potential.
So much potential in the Rays minor league system. Thanks so much to Neil Solondz of the Rays Radio Network for joining us. You can catch him on the pre and post game shows all season long on the Rays Radio Network. Still to come, a former Ray instrumental in the success of the 2008 World Series team is recognized for his accomplishments. And Doug and the Big O join us again to discuss the new additions to the club when we come back to wrap things up on the Tampa Bay Rays spring training preview. The month of February kicked off with the Ted Williams Museum and Hitters Hall of Fame induction dinner held inside Tropicana Field. The event celebrated the women who played pro baseball, spotlighted by a tribute to Penny Marshall, director of the movie A League of Their Own. Former MLB players Mickey Lolich and Greg Luzinski were also honored, along with the headliner of the evening, former Rays first baseman and fan favorite, Carlos Pena.
This is a huge honor. It's pretty cool because it's back home as well. We're back here at Tropicana, had amazing moments here. But the most important thing is that I get to share the honor with my family. My kids are here, my wife is going to be here. I have my closest friend here as well, and I'm seeing old teammates as well. So truly special night for me. I'm grateful.
He not only was a great player, he was a great person. I can't say enough about him, and we are thrilled tonight to have his dad here, to have his kids, and to be able to, in front of all of his family, honor him and induct him into the Ted Williams Hitters Hall of Fame.
I don't take this for granted. I have to pinch myself and say, wow, really? Is this truly happening? I'm grateful, and it's such a huge night for me to be able to share that with the people that I love and with so many close friends. And back in Tropicana Field where I had amazing moments.
This season marks the 12th year the Rays have called Port Charlotte its spring training home. And here inside Charlotte Sports Park, fans will get to see some new faces on the roster. Those new additions provide Tampa Bay the opportunity to increase both its run totals and power from last season. To take a closer look, once again, here are my Fox Sports Sun Rays broadcast partners and favorite people, Orestes Estrada and Doug Wechter.
All right, well, we've talked a lot about the best athletes in the game. Now we can go to some position players. What do you think? We got some new faces coming in 2020. Go ahead and
sure
explain
do.
those
We got quite a few new faces. In fact, it seemed like we kind of did nicey with a couple of teams over the winter, and that was St. Louis and San Diego. When you look at St. Louis, the deals that brought over a couple of very talented players, one kind of a veteran, one young. When you think of Randy Arozarena, watch out. This kid may not break camp with the team, but I think this 24-year-old is going to be something special. He's potentially a 5-tool outfielder, right-handed. Remember that right-handed thing, because right-handed is an important part of what the Rays operations are looking for. Make sure that they can handle left-handed pitching. Another big right-hander from St. Louis, Jose Martinez, comes in, 6'6", 240 pounds, a thumper. Can play a little bit of first, a little bit of left field, and I think that guy's going to kind of be used mostly in that DH slot, again, especially against lefty pitchers. And then you look at San Diego, Manny Margot, an exceptional 25-year-old go-get-em outfielder, not so much right-handed from the plate, but incredible defensively. So I think you're going to use him all over the place in right, center, left. And then you picked up Hunter Renfroe. Hunter Renfroe, if healthy, could be a 30-homer guy. Fantastic left fielder. And I think that those are special guys. Oh, and let's not forget another special bat, Yoshitomo, as I call him, Yoshitomo Tsutsugo. I think is going to be somebody that's going to be in there quite a bit.
Well, you talked about a lot of guys that sound like they can play outfield, infield, and go all over the diamond. Talk a little bit more about the infield and how that's going to shape out.
Well, the infield hopefully is going to be similar to last year if health is wealth again. When you round it out, you got Ji-Man Choi that I think is the type of guy that's going to be at first base quite often. You're going to see some other guys in there, but it's going to be Ji-Man Choi's place. Nate Lowe also could be mixing in there, another thumper, but it's going to be Brandon Lau at second base, a healthy Brandon Lau mixed in with Joey Wendell. The kid, El Nino at shortstop, Willie Adames, ended up finishing so strong at the end of the season. And then I'll talk about another injury guy type of guy. It's Yandy Diaz. If Yandy Diaz can stay healthy, he was on his way to an all-star type campaign, hitting almost 300, showing the power. When you round out the catching, this is going to be an exciting place because I think Mike Zunino is going to have a comeback year. I'm glad he's back with the team. And of course, the kid Perez also showing a lot of great signs. So the infield looks very, very strong, and the offense with it looks good.
Defense looks great. You're talking about the offense. Give me a couple key hitters that you're looking for this year.
Hey, hands down, it's the kid. I mean, Austin Meadows has the potential to not only be an all-star again, but to be an MVP type candidate. All his tools, how quick his bat swing is. He can hit lefty, he hits righties, play right field. He can do so many great things. I think he's key. And Kevin Kiermaier is key. If offensively he finds it, he's one of the fastest players in all of baseball. So I think those are two guys that I think could be very integral.
Now, it'll be interesting to see 2020 season if they can improve on what a great season they had in 2019. Stay tuned. A lot of things to look forward to.
Well, we've rounded third and we're headed for home as our show comes to a close. And before you know it, the regular season will be here on March 26th at Tropicana Field. The Rays face the Pittsburgh Pirates. Be sure to join us for our hour-long live pregame show with first pitch slated for 4:10. And until then, be sure to check us out at Charlotte Sports Park for a spring training game. For Orestes Estrada, Doug Wechter, Neil Solondz, and everyone else involved in our show, I'm Trisha Whitaker. We'll see you next time.